If you've spent any real time with generative AI tools,
Yeah.
you know that feeling, right? That frustration.
Oh, the inconsistency.
Yes.
Yes.
1 minute, it's like it's reading your mind. It gives you this perfectly tailored email or an analysis that just gets every single nuance.
Then the next.
The next, you ask it something similar, and the output is just, I don't know, it's flat, generic, completely unusable. It feels like you're just rolling the dice every time.
That exact feeling, the idea that the AI is only sometimes a genius, that's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
Because when we really look at the difference between that brilliant output and the generic stuff, it almost always comes down to one thing.
Which one?
One single, really underrated skill in prompt engineering, providing the right context. If you can master that, you stop asking the AI to guess. You start telling it precisely what to build.
That's a huge promise, though, because, I mean, my assumption is that these models have read, like, the entire internet. They should just know what a good marketing campaign looks like or what professional email etiquette is. So why is context so critical if they already have all that knowledge?
That's a great question. And I think the answer is in how they work. At a high level, at least, they're all about probability.
Okay.
So when you give them a vague request, like, say, write a marketing email, they just look at all the data they have on marketing emails.
Do they?
They give you the statistical average.
The safest, most common version.
The safest, most common, and therefore the most generic response possible. The only way you pull the model out of that statistical safety zone is by injecting unique, high-value context. It acts like a filter. It forces the model to ignore the average and generate something highly targeted.
So we need to stop treating the AI like a mind reader.
Exactly.
And start treating it like what then?
Like a brilliant new colleague on their first day.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, think about it. This colleague is wildly capable, graduated top of their class, has every skill you can imagine. But they don't have the briefing. They don't know your company culture, your client's specific sensitivities, the jargon you use.
Or even what done looks like for this particular task.
Precisely. Without that briefing, they can only produce generic work. They need us to be the expert guide for them.
That analogy lands perfectly. I've definitely given a vague brief to a new person and gotten vague work back. And yeah, the fault was mine.
Exactly. So to make the mission of this deep dive really clear, let's just start with a super compelling example from the source material. It just proves the power of context in action.
Okay, so let's unpack this, starting with a clear, small example. Let's say a tagline.
A tagline, perfect. Say you're launching a new drink and you just type in that vague prompt, write me a tagline for a new drink.
Right.
Because the AI is just defaulting to the average of all taglines ever, you're going to get something completely sterile. Something like, refresh your day.
Taste the difference.
Yes.
Generic. Could be for bottled water, could be for industrial cleaning fluid.
Right, no market specificity at all.
Now, compare that to a context-rich prompt, a proper briefing. Imagine you specify that the drink is a sparkling rooibos tea. The target audience is health-conscious Gen Z South Africans.
Okay, very specific.
And the brand personality should be playful, proudly local. It's competing directly with imported European sparkling waters. And the tone needs to be cheeky, but definitely not childish.
Wow, that changes the entire task. You're defining the market, the competition, the whole emotional tone.
Exactly, and the output immediately transforms. Instead of refresh your day, you get something highly specific and market-aware. You get bubbles with benefits brewed in the bush.
That's an instant tagline. It's ready to go.
It's ready for testing, at least. And it's because you gave the AI the unique constraints and the positioning it needed. You turn the machine from a generator of generalities into a creative partner. So that time you spend crafting the initial prompt, that detailed brief, it's not friction. It's high leverage work. It saves you all the tedious revisions later.
That's the key.
But how do we bottle that? I mean, is there a checklist? Something we can use every single time to make sure we don't miss those critical points?
There absolutely is. And it's a systematic approach we pulled from the sources. We call it the SCOPE framework.
The scope?
Yep. It's a simple mnemonic device to help you remember the 5 essential elements for your context briefing. SCOPE.
Okay, let's start with the S, situations. Sounds simple, but why does defining the environment matter so much?
S is for situation. This is all about the background. You have to explicitly tell the AI the setting. Are you drafting a pitch for a client who's, always skeptical of new digital stuff?
Or are you writing internal notes for an HR team?
Exactly. Is this copy going on a billboard or is it just a quick message in a Slack channel? The stakes are completely different.
So it's about the medium, the gravity of the output. If I just ask for a summary without defining the situation, The AI has no idea if it should be formal and cited or just casual.
That's it. The AI needs to understand the stakes. A pitch to the C-suite needs technical rigor, concise language.
Hmm.
A campaign pitch needs excitement, persuasive language. Without the situation, you just get a general business tone, which is almost never what you actually want.
Okay, S is crucial. Got it. Next up is C for constraints.
C is for constraints.
Hmm.
These are your guardrails, the rules, the limits, the non-negotiables. We tend to focus on what we want the AI to do,
Right.
but defining what it must avoid is often way more critical. This could be a hard word count, a budget you have to reference, technical formatting, brand compliance rules.
The things that if it gets them wrong, the output is just instantly useless.
Instantly unusable. You can't negotiate them.
Yeah.
The wording count is 100 and it gives you 500, you've just wasted your time. Constraints eliminate that revision loop.
Okay. Moving on to O, outcome. This seems pretty clear, but what are people missing?
Outcome is the success metric. What is the precise goal? It's not enough to say, write a post.
You have to say why.
Yes. Is the goal to inform them about a new product,
Mm-hmm.
persuade them to click a link, entertain them, motivate them? Each of those outcomes requires a totally different structure.
And if the AI knows the outcome is persuasion, for example, it'll automatically prioritize things like calls to action and benefit statements.
Precisely. It helps the AI structure the argument, pick the right rhetorical devices, everything.
That brings us to P, perspective. We kind of touched on this with the tagline example, the cheeky but not childish voice. Why is this such a heavy hitter?
P is for perspective, or voice. This is where the AI steps into a role. Is it a highly technical expert? A friendly, approachable advisor? A corporate lawyer? Or maybe you needed to mimic your CEO's very specific, concise, and slightly dry communication style.
Wait a second, though. Isn't defining all 5 of these things just more work? It feels like I'm writing a brief twice. Once for the AI, once for my team. Why not just let it take a shot and then I'll revise it?
But that's where the efficiency argument really wins. If you let the AI take a shot without context, it gives you the average.
The generic version.
And revising the average is always additive work. You're adding things, you're clarifying, you're fixing the tone. It's slow. But by front-loading the perspective, the foundation is right from the start. Your revisions, if you even have any, are just minor tweaks, not a total rewrite.
So you save 5 minutes of editing for every extra 60 seconds you spend on the brief.
That's the math. It's an investment in quality control up front.
I see. Okay, finally, E. This one feels like the most optional.
E is for examples.
Yeah.
If you can, show the AI what good looks like. This is, and I'd argue it's the most powerful element because it bridges that gap between an abstract instruction and concrete quality.
So instead of describing a tone, you just show it.
Exactly. Instead of saying you want a confident and dynamic tone, you can just provide an example of a competitor's headline that captures it perfectly.
But doesn't that create friction? Does example mean I have to feed it my whole 50-page brand guide every time? That seems like a lot.
Not at all. We're looking for high-signal examples, a paragraph of copy that worked well in the past, 2 bullet points of competitor messaging you admire,
Mm-hmm.
even just 3 successful headlines.
So you're not training the model.
No, you're just setting a quality benchmark. You give it a small snippet that embodies the tone or the complexity you need, and the AI uses that as its reference point. It's often way more effective than trying to describe quality with a bunch of abstract adjectives.
Scope it's incredibly comprehensive. It really does turn prompt engineering from guesswork into a systematic process.
So, let's connect this to the real world. A fast-paced agency environment where efficiency is literally money.
Absolutely. Think about a media agency. They're constantly generating social copy for tons of different clients.
And the lazy approach is that weakest possible prompt. Write Instagram captions for a bank. Right, and you get Save Smart Today. Utterly generic. Now let's apply scope to that exact scenario. Let's use a big regulated client like a bank in Johannesburg or a credit union in Ohio. The principles are the same.
Okay, walk us through the full strong prompt.
We start with situation and role. I am a social media manager at a digital marketing agency generating content for a major financial institution. Then client and audience. The client is a tier 1 bank. The target is young professionals, 25 to 35, first-time investors who feel intimidated by the market.
S and part of C.
Then outcome. Rate 3 Instagram captions promoting our new feature that simplifies the investment process.
We've got S and O down. Now for those crucial guardrails.
Perspective. The tone should be confident, reassuring, and approachable. Think of a smart friend who happens to work in finance. So, zero jargon, maximum clarity. And then constraints. Each caption must be under 150 characters, contain a clear call to action, and most importantly, avoid all references to guaranteed returns, complex financial acronyms, or any political commentary.
That last part is the killer constraint for any regulated client.
It's critical. And now you have a ready-made brief. It forces the AI to output copy that is targeted, compliant, and actually useful.
What's fascinating here is you can see the direct link to labor costs.
You really can. The social media manager who used the vague prompt, they're now wasting 30 minutes generating, revising, and then having compliance kick it back.
Right.
The manager who used the scope prompt gets 3 usable compliant captions immediately. They spent maybe 60 seconds more up front and eliminated 300 seconds of editing and revision on the back end. That difference just compounds all day long.
It reframes the whole effort. Context isn't the long way around, it's the shortcut.
It's the only real shortcut. You're giving the AI a map, not just a vague direction.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Because people often try to add context, they might even know about frameworks like scope, but they still mess it up.
They do.
So what are the most common, maybe counterintuitive pitfalls?
The first one is absolutely lethal in any specialized field, assuming shared industry knowledge or jargon.
We all do it. We use acronyms internally and completely forget they aren't universal.
Constantly. You might spend all day talking about ooh or programmatic buying.
Yeah.
The AI has access to those terms, but if you just use them without defining them in your context, it might misuse them or miss the specific nuance your company assigns to them.
Do you have an example of that going wrong?
I do. Someone once prompted for an ATL marketing strategy. The output it gave them treated ATL as above the law.
Oh, dear.
It was completely inappropriate. A slight misinterpretation of a 3-letter acronym can derail the entire project.
So rule 1, if jargon is critical, define it explicitly, every time.
Mandatory. The AI is smart, but it's not a mind reader about your internal standards. The second mistake comes right from C, constraints. People forget the do-nots.
We're so focused on the positive outcome.
We are. But what you need to avoid is just as critical. If a client is highly sensitive about using the color green, or if your brand has a list of 10 prohibited words, you have to embed those as explicit constraints.
Because if you don't, the AI, just pulling from the internet average, is pretty likely to include them.
Very likely.
Yeah.
And you're right back in that revision loop. So the constraints section has to be your brand safety checklist.
It's the guardrail against failure.
It is. And the third mistake is the simplest and by far the most common.
Yeah.
Just being too brief.
Vague in, vague out.
It's a closed loop. People assume the AI will figure it out because they're busy. But the core principle here has to be, when in doubt, over-explain. Detail is not bloat, it is calibration. It is always, always easier to edit down a brilliant, detailed response than it is to try and coax specificity out of a vague foundation that missed the mark completely.
That 60-second investment to save 300 seconds of editing, it just completely changes the value of writing a good prompt.
It transforms it from a chore into a strategic tool.
So what does this all mean? We've established context is the key, and we have the scope framework to organize it.
The core insight, really, is that mastering context isn't about learning complex programming. It's not about AI model quirks. It's about getting rigorously better at defining your own communication goals.
Okay.
The scope framework forces you to articulate the needs, the audience, the quality, all of it clearly before the AI even starts working. Context isn't extra work. It is the shortcut, the absolute shortcut to better, faster results from any AI you use.
So for everyone listening who wants to use this right now, what's the most actionable first step?
Start building context templates. Seriously. Identify your 3 most common tasks, writing client briefs, generating marketing emails, summarizing research, whatever they are, and build a reusable document with all the default scope elements for those tasks.
So you pre-fill it.
You pre-fill your standard perspective, your constant constraints, your typical situation. Then you can just reuse those templates over and over, just dropping in the new variables. It completely transforms your workflow from a constant struggle into a repeatable, efficient process.
So the scope elements become these reusable architectural blocks.
Exactly. You are systematically codifying your own professional intelligence.
And here is the final provocative thought for you to mull over as you start drafting your next scope-powered prompt. The best AI prompt engineers aren't really experts in technology. They're experts in defining the specific needs and limitations of their own communication goals. When you can define the target perfectly, the machine can't miss.